Welcome to the Complete Story series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you, turning them into a motion comic. It's what we do here at this channel. We take some current comic book storylines, we take out the words, we alter the panels around a little bit, and we dramatically tell you what happened in the storyline so that you understand what is going on in current comic books and can then go out and buy the next issues yourself. When we last left off with Scooby Apocalypse, we had done issues 1 through 25, and at the end of that, Fred had died. It's now time to see how the Scooby Gang is dealing with this in a universe where monsters are real and they've taken over the world. Yeah, it's a really weird universe for Scooby. But today we get the return of a fan favorite. In our last video, Daphne and Fred made their stand while trying to take out a monster nest that was capable of creating endless waves of beasties. Even though it was supposed to be a recon mission, the two found themselves trapped with no other choice but to fight. But once the two of them thought the department store was closed, one managed to survive and died, taking Fred with him. It's now been 6 months since the death of Fred Jones, and because of his death, the Henry Hudson Mall in New York became a shining beacon of hope for humanity. Within those 6 months, survivors gathered at the now fortified mall, seeking refuge from the cruel outside world. One day, as two of the guards begin to keep watch on the outer wall, they see Daphne walking by. Sanchez tells Hooper that he's not afraid to admit it, but that woman scares the hell out of him. And Hooper says maybe so, but he's seen her in action. She fights like a freaking Terminator. Sanchez says, yeah, but have I ever looked into her eyes? There's nothing but pain and rage. Dinky seems to be the one in charge, but I've got a feeling that the talking dog's the brains of this operation. Hooper laughs, stating, yeah, plagues, monsters, dogs that talk. What kind of world is this anyway? Daphne looks over the wall, telling them a miserable one. Sanchez clears his throat. Sorry, Miss Blake didn't know you were listening. She tells them that she's always listening. Now stop your damn chatter and get your asses back to work. Down below, Cliffy is telling Scooby that he wishes that there was something that they could do for her. Scooby says, like what, Riffy? And Cliffy says that he's not sure. Daphne just has been so different since the death of Fred. If there was only a way that they could cheer her up. Rhyme. Daphne needs time. But just then, Daisy comes up shouting, there they are. Didn't she send them out this morning with a list of chores to do? And Cliffy tells her, yeah, they did them. And Daisy says, all of them? So Cliffy responds, okay, maybe some of them. But come on, I'm a kid. I'm supposed to be out there goofing off. You wouldn't want to rob me of my childhood, would you? Daisy tells him that he's already been robbed of that. They're just making sure that he isn't robbed of his life. The only way to make sure of that is that he's working as hard as everyone else around here. Even one person in Jonestown slacking off. Cliffy walks off stating, I know. It could be the end of us all. Daisy looks at Scooby stating, don't give her that look. She knows that she's hard on the boy, but it's a hard life and he needs to be prepared for it. Don't worry. She'll make sure that she puts in some playtime. Next thing they need is for him to end up like Daphne. As the two begin to head back inside, Daphne quietly looks back, listening. Meanwhile, inside of the mall, Shaggy and Velma talk about the most recent attacks against the mall. Shaggy asks if this place is really a safe haven. We've been attacked twice this week. Velma tells him, of course it is. It's because twice they beat back those attacks, something they couldn't have done before the population of Jonestown expanded. Shaggy yells, Jonestown? Do you realize what an awful name that is? And Velma asks, is it? Shaggy asks, the People's Temple? Mass suicide? Ring a bell? And Velma tells him, actually, no. She's going to assume that the name has some negative associations. That association and the world that created it are long gone. This is a new world, a world that Fred Jones gave his life to protect. Jonestown it is, and Jonestown it will remain. Shaggy says, oh, I love it when you get all authoritative. Maybe we can sneak back into their headquarters and... Velma stops him, telling him later, there's work to be done. Just then, another resident named Kelser runs up telling Velma that Jack and Grace need her. Velma sighs, stating, don't they always? And Kelser goes on telling them there's more. The South Side sewer access is showing signs of activity. Velma begins to head into the storage, telling everyone that she'll deal with Jack and Grace while they check out the sewer. And trust her, they got the less odious job. The Kebelskis were supposed to help with the day-to-day operations with their background in management, but they're incapable of making their own decisions. As Velma walks into the storage, Jack runs up stating that they have a problem. If Jonestown keeps expanding population at its current rate, they may have to start rationing. And Grace says, start? They've been doing that for weeks now. Soon they're going to be living off styrofoam and cardboard if they don't find another food source. But as the two go back and forth, they turn to Velma asking, what does she think? She yells every time they find a problem, no matter how small, they come running to her. Last week, they woke her up at 2 a.m. to state that they were low on toilet paper. She wants them to exercise some independent thought. In other words, make up your own damn mind. If there's an issue with food supply, come up with a solution, then bring it to her. As Velma storms off, Grace says that she hates them, and Jack tells her that Velma doesn't hate them. She has a unique management style. Back outside, Daphne sits along the wall, watching some of the monsters creep closer to the mall. She thinks back to when they tried to find Fred's body, only to learn that it wasn't there. It wasn't where they left it. She shoots the monsters, asking, why did she wait so long to tell him how she felt? To tell herself how she felt? Why did she let Fred die? They couldn't even give him a decent funeral, all because those things stole his body and probably made a meal out of him. They're gonna pay, every last one of them. She will hunt them down and rip out their hearts like they did to her. Whatever love she knew in this life died with Fred, and now all she has left is rage and hate, and you know what? She prefers it that way. Over in the South Side sewer entrance, Shaggy looks at the manhole stating, yeah, these scratches aren't human. I guess I'll go down and take a look. Kelser tells him don't try and be a hero down there, and Shaggy tells him, leave me, I'm no hero. I'm just gonna have a quick look around and get my skinny ass out of there. As he jumps down into the scraps on the ground, he calls back that something's living here. All this stuff is recent. Go ahead and pass down a gun. If he runs into anything he can't handle, then... But a voice tells him he's already run into it. Shaggy turns back asking, what the hell? Scrappy-Doo? And Scrappy jumps out shouting, surprise! You guys hoped I was dead, but I'm back. And I want to see that run Scooby-Doo right now. As Scrappy jumps down from the ledge, Shaggy asks, what do you want from Scoopster? And Scrappy tells him, it's not just him. I got business with all of you. It's been a long time since I saved your sorry asses from the giant whatever the hell that thing was back in Washington. You better not have forgotten that without me, none of you'd be alive today. Shaggy tells him, of course they did, not for a minute, but don't take this the wrong way. Why are you here? If you survived the fight, why didn't you come find us sooner? Scrappy tells him, yeah, I survived, barely. I limped out of there bloody and bruised, hardly knew who I was anymore. It took me months of running and hiding before I got back on my feet, and even longer to pick up your scent and track you down. I just need a place to lie low for a bit. Been rough out there. Food's scarce. Figured you owed me something. Some of the warehouse workers look over and Scrappy glares back asking, what are you staring at? The worker says nothing as Scrappy tells him, you're looking at Scrappy-freaking-Doo. Shaggy pulls Scrappy away, stating, let's get out of here. But why hide this whole time? You look like you've been down there for a while. Scrappy tells him, I needed to make sure the place was secure. Needed to know that you idiots knew what you were doing before I showed myself. Shaggy then says, all things considered, we've done okay. And Scrappy tells him, I'm pretty sure your friend Fred might disagree with that. If I was... But before he could finish, a voice calls out, Scrappy-Doo! Cliffy runs up, tackling Scrappy, hugging him, telling him, I knew you were alive, I knew it! I never once stopped believing. Scrappy gets up, telling him, Cliffy? I'm not really big on hugs. And Cliffy says, what do you mean? Scrappy pushes him off, shouting, back off, midget! And Cliffy asks, what are you talking about? I'm your best pal. Scrappy scoffs, puh, best pal. Where was my best pal when I was bleeding out in the woods? Oh, and there's Scooby-Doo. Didn't see you coming back to find me either, runt. Another voice says that it would seem Scrappy-Doo is as ill-tempered as ever. Scrappy looks back. Well, if it ain't Doc Dinkley, the genius that screwed up the entire damn planet. Velma says that she is delighted to see him too, and somewhat surprised that he's still speaking in coherent sentences. Last time she remembers, his implants were completely failing. Scrappy lets out a forced laugh, telling them, I should be so lucky. Not sure why, but whatever the malfunction was, it worked itself out. But I'm still the same bloodthirsty monster that you created in the Complex's Smart Dog program. Velma begins to state that he's no such monster. She knew him when he was a pup, and Scrappy stops her. You still don't know me at all. None of you do. Velma asks, if you despise us so much, why would you ever come back? Scrappy points to Shaggy, stating, like I was telling Hipster Doofus here, the world's getting uglier and uglier out there. I need shelter and food, and you're gonna be giving it to me whether you like it or not. But I ain't joining some society. Once I'm ready, I'm out of here for good. Velma sighs. All right, Scrappy can stay, but he damn well better respect the rules and regulations or they'll be hell to pay. Cliffy yells, don't worry, he'll respect the rules, he'll be a good dog. Velma walks off, stating that it's settled. Shaggy, Scrappy-Doo is your responsibility. Wait, what? And Velma tells him, because, my love, you are our resident canine expert. Shaggy yells that he isn't an ordinary canine. And Velma says, well, while that is true, you're not an ordinary man. Back with Daphne, she finishes clearing out the last of the monsters in the supermarket, when she notices one last one shuffling towards her. It lunges, but as Daphne easily dodges it, she tells the monsters that they are clumsy and stupid. How the hell did she ever let them get near Fred? She protected him through all of this transformation, and the second that she lets her guard down, they took him away. She shoots the monster in the head and takes a bag of chips off the rack before heading outside. She thinks to herself that everyone keeps telling her it's not her fault, but there wasn't anything she could have done, that she needs to forgive herself. But what if she doesn't want to forgive herself? What if she doesn't deserve forgiveness? She could always put the gun in her mouth and... Daphne says no. That's not the way George Blake raised his daughter. Dad could be hard, sometimes even cruel, but he was the strongest person she ever met. Nothing could break that man. Nothing is going to break her. As she finishes eating, she leans back on her car shouting, "Come on out, you mongrels! I'm waiting for you!" Just then, she sees something approaching and she jumps down off the hood of the car, pointing her gun, asking who's there. The young girl says to please help her. And Daphne asks what is her name, and she says again, "Help me, please, they're after me." So Daphne asks again, "What is your name?" And the girl says again, "Just help her." So Daphne says, yeah, that's what she thought, and shoots the girl in her head. Daphne thinks she's starting to see these kinds more and more. They imitate human form and mimic their speech. Before checking, Daphne then thinks, what if she was wrong? She uses the barrel of the gun to open up the girl's mouth and sees a set of sharp teeth, and then says, well, she wasn't wrong this time. And even if she was, it's too damn late now. Back in the mall, Shaggy looks out when Scrappy yells, "Hey, doofus!" He turns back, saying he doesn't get it. Why the hate? Why is he doing what he can to push them away? Push you away? You're the ones who act like I'm some kind of monster. Well, you did kind of act like one when we first met you. But even then, I knew it was my fault. You didn't ask to be a part of the Smart Dog program to be turned into... Scrappy tells him, "A freak?" Shaggy tells him, "Maybe that's how you see yourself, but that's not the way we see it. You're lost, just like the rest of us. The whole world has changed around us." And Scrappy tells him, "Spare me the analysis. You have no idea what it's like to be inside of my skin." I think I do, because man or dog, we're all frightened. All just looking for a little bit of light in a really messed up world. That's why you came looking for us, isn't it? Because the truth is, with your pack gone, you need us." Scrappy yells, "I don't need anyone." Shaggy says, "Then why come back at all? Why not stay there in the wasteland doing it alone?" "I don't know, okay?" Scrappy turns to leave, quietly stating, "I don't know." Shaggy tells him, "Yeah, you do. You're just too scared to admit it." Later that night, Scrappy sits alone on the roof when Scooby comes out sitting next to him without saying anything. Scooby just looks out, and after sighing, Scrappy looks out with him, stating, "Yeah, missed you too, you dumb mutt." And there you have it. Scrappy-Doo is back! Alright everyone, if you enjoyed this video, then I want you to give this video a like. Let me know that you want some more Scrappy-Doo! And if you keep going, we can talk about some more Scooby-Doo by subscribing to the channel. It'll be a lot of fun for all of us because I bring you these videos almost every day of the week. And if you find me on Twitter at Comicstorian, hit me up with a Scooby-Doo! I'll see you next time right here.